Here's what's going on.
Both the kids, I don't know if your kid did this, because you didn't have cell phones when your kid got out of the house for the first time, right? Okay, so my kids, they think that because they're on their way home from work, and one of them gets off work at noon because she starts at 3, and the other one gets off work at 5 or 8 because she works at Apple, they think it's time to chat. And so they get on their cell phones on their drive home, which is 20 minutes, and they just shoot the breeze. They don't realize I'm behind the camera with famous Ed Montepulciano, or that I'm at my office trying to do some work. We're just shooting the breeze. Drives me crazy. Hey, welcome to the Limited Series for April 2015. And that's really, really interesting.
He's off again.
This, you know what? Okay. People always ask this question. They probably ask you too. Oh, you taste so many wines. Don't you run out of wine to taste? No. And here's a classic example. 2 of the wines this month are from a brand new source, brand new importer, and incredible value this guy brings to the table in all sorts of parts of the world, in all parts of Europe. And now that the euro is down to $1.08 or $1.05.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that
Wow, I
amazing?
didn't realize it was that low.
Yeah, so it's almost parity.
Well, that's a big help, obviously. But the other thing is Bordeaux is in big trouble. They are in big trouble. I mean, I just was on the phone with my buddy Yoop yesterday from Clos-Monacour that you bought several wines from, and he said worldwide he's having trouble selling wine, not just in the United States.
I think this is classic for what it is.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I think it's classic.
absolutely incredible. $25.99 for Bordeaux. What are you out of your mind? Especially Bordeaux Superior, that's really well made.
It's $16.99. So this guy brings his wines, and I'm like, what? I go, hello. I said, the packaging nice. It's, the quality of the wine's great. It's going to last in the glass. And the red wine we're going to taste next. I'm like, what do you think? Well, we try to keep our margins low. I'm like, apparently. So.
Well, I know, but the other thing you can do when a year ago you were looking at $1.40 to the euro, and now it's $1.10. Like, my God, that's like 30% discount. I mean, or 20% discount.
Well, I had to prepay for our room in May. I had to prepay in November. So you imagine now, I would have saved 40% almost if I could pay for it today.
That's true. Well, you can cancel. Do you have a cancellation clause?
Yeah, you don't want to cancel this. You'll never get it back. No.
Well, anyway, Cap Royale. It's named after this really bizarre story. Actually, there's where the grapes are grown is by the water, and there's a little island or a peninsula that looks like a cap, and I'm going and they're showing me the map, and I'm going, okay, I guess I sort of get it, and that's why they call it Cap Royale. I don't know. I guess it's better than calling it George or Lisa.
Oh, but this guy came from Pichon-Longueuil.
Pichon-Longueuil, right?
Yeah,
which is a second growth Bordeaux, big deal operation.
Yeah, but that's why I remember now. I love this one. I'm giving it a 96.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm 96 on that too. That's really amazing. This is a wine that's going to age well. It's a 2011.
Now, here's the second wine this guy brought in. I have not done a Montepulciano probably in 15 years.
No, you did one of mine last year.
All right.
But who's
One
counting?
Year, one in 15 years. Why? Why, I ask you. I
Why?
ask you.
Why? I don't know why. Why don't
Because
you tell us?
the biggest debacle I've ever had in a wine shipment was a Montepulciano.
Oh, so you're still reeling from
Because
that.
it is a sensitive wine to heat and shaking and stuff. So he landed here in America, it smelled like eggs. I had told the guy it was Jean Le Sec. I called him. I go, hey, you gotta get this wine out. What's wrong with it? I go, it smells like eggs and it releases gas when you put the cork on the corkscrew. The corkscrew in the cork. He goes, what are you talking about? So he came out and I said, if you don't come today, it's gonna be on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never done it since, except for years. But I thought this was a great example.
Well, Montepulciano's di Abruzzo is a perfect example of the Italians finally waking up and smelling the roses. This used to be a really good buy, but it was also one of the cheapest wines from Italy, period. I mean, it was always like stupidly cheap. The problem was that they didn't have any kind of continuity. Their hygiene in the wineries were terrible because they didn't want to spend any money, and as a result, they never made any money for what they had to sell it for. So they finally figured, gee, I guess we're going to have to start paying money. We got to start paying attention, or we're not going to make any money. And that's what's happening. Now, they're still relatively inexpensive for what they are, but they're still...
Is that what life's about, Ed, making money? Is that all you have to worry about is making money?
You tell me.
No. It's about the quality of the wine. I thought this. Here's what drew me to this wine. It's dense. Look at the color.
It's really dense. No, it's really dense.
And it's not so old world. It doesn't have that musty smell. It's got a very fruit-forward version of the grape.
It's still really very young. It's a 2012, so it's got a long life ahead of it. And this is not the the simple uninteresting wines from Montepulciano that were in the throes 40 years ago. It's a serious wine.
It's a 95 for me. I think it's great. $24.99 on the shelf. Try and find it because I think we're probably the only people in America that have it right now, and $14.99 for more. But just got here from a brand new group of importers who have done. He's the one that brought the Provence maker.
Oh yeah,
and wonderful wines. Remy Victor. Now, speaking of fun importers, this is our friend Claire Roy. How did you know her?
Well,
you wrote about her?
Yeah, well, not necessarily, but you've done several.
So here she brings in a lot of wine. Okay, her husband buys vintage motocross from the 70s and 80s, the Hodakas and the Husqvarnas, restores them partially, gets them running, sends them back to France. And she brings wine in. She does not like to sell wines to the stores because it's one case here, too. So she only calls on us, so we have almost exclusive access to her wines, and restaurants that put them on the list. And so she's very French, dresses very French, speaks French, obviously. And so she told me the other day she was at the Tennessee... The Tennessee Wine Symposium. Tennessee is a state-owned thing, so you go to the conference and you're selling to the state basically, and the state sells it to the stores. So I said, you must have been the standout there with your French accent, stand behind your table pouring wine. She goes, oh, it was very crowded. We sold a lot of wine. Anyway, I love this. I think it's classic.
Well, I am very partial to white Bordeaux. It's truly one of my favorite areas. And these wines can be, as I put in the article that I wrote about this, absolutely out of this world. I mean, as good as white wine can get on earth. And I'm talking the best German Rieslings, the best white Burgundies. This wine is just fabulous. I mean, for that kind of money, it's insane. It's $25 and $16.99 in a reorder price, and you could spend $50. Seriously, and not get a wine of this quality.
That's good.
And it's the classic combination of Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, and Muscadel.
It's from the Gironde.
Well, it's from Bordeaux.
Chateau Le Grand Verdus. It's great. I'm giving it a 97 also.
Yeah, I am too. I just think it's phenomenal. Absolutely beautiful wine.
Exciting stuff. That's exciting.
So different. They're just so incredibly different.
You can't say it's Sauvignon Blanc from Napa. You can't say it's Sauvignon Blanc from Sonoma. You can't say it's Sauvignon Blanc from Lodi. It's French Bordeaux.
And then
now this is a late entry. I had slotted another wine, and this guy showed up. This guy literally showed up Tuesday, 2 days ago, and I said, "I've got to bump this other wine. This is too good." And Ironstone, we did one or two of their wines before the Cab Franc, I think we did.
Yeah, they're a wonderful winery up there in the Sierra foothills.
One of the most pleasant Pinot Grigios that I ever had.
Well, I really love the story about the organ that they renovated that's on the property of which there are only 6 made of this very special pipe organ. And they have little concerts there and silent movies like the old days at the winery.
Do they?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's not fair to have tasted that Bordeaux Blanc first. Because this is a little milder, but once you taste it, you realize there's a ton of flavor in this Pinot.
Oh wow, that's delicious though. It's really different because we had my Peralta Pinot Grigio that comes from Washington State. This comes from the Sierra foothills. They might as well be two different grapes from two different countries. Right, totally, I mean, it's just like they're different states. So really different though. But
I just flipped over it. I'm going to give this a nice 6. I just think for Pinot Grigio, it's. Pinot Grigio, like we talked about, it needs to be a nice, bright, fresh wine. Yours was like medium, full-bodied, which is great. But I don't think oak aging stuff is for the birds.
Oh, please.
Just bottle it the way it was crushed, and this is what you're going to get. This is what happens.
Are you listening out there?
Don't point.
Oh, sure. You do the fart machine, but I can't point.
Oh, yeah.
How classy is that? And that is afraid my show, or our show, or the show for the limited series for April of 2015. Now we got to come back in May and do this again.
Super duper.